Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Thursday nights, ZoWilliams Rising is in the building. You're listening to the voice of reason. Oh, let that play. That's Public Enemy. I love Public Enemy. This is, what record was this? It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos.
I got a letter from the government the other day.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, ZoWilliams, Sirius Satellite Radio, XM Satellite Radio. For my XM listeners, you're on channel 149. For my Sirius listeners, you're on channel 106. And you're in the Foxxhole. And this is what we do every Thursday with the voice of reason. You know who he is. That's me, ZoWilliams. And the number to dial is 877-2-106-106. I'm going to say it again, but I'm going to say it slower. 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial. And you must call quickly because you know how our phone lines are. They fill up really, really fast. So tonight's topic, without further ado, has your soulmate become your cellmate? Now, a lot of people were like, what the hell does that mean? You know how in the beginning of a relationship, shit is all flowery and beautiful and nice and euphoric, and oxytocin is floating around and everybody's all excited and, wow, this is beautiful, new love. And you're thinking, this is gonna make it. This person isn't a stepping stone. They're a cornerstone in my life. And then 18 months out, you meet the real person. You know, the representative, right? Goes away. And then the real person comes in. And that person you thought was a soulmate, that facade goes away and you find out, no, this person is a cellmate. I'm in jail to this person's ideologies, to their thought process. I thought I liked them just based on the physical and the emotional. You know how we do when we get out to the club. We see somebody we like physically. They got good talk, good game or whatever. And we think, hey, maybe. We're intoxicated by the newness of the moment. 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial. Has your soulmate turn into your cellmate? Really quickly, you know, in the voice of reason, we have a segment called the Makeup to Breakup segment. Find out if it's time to mend it or end it. If you're frustrated with any of your relationships, your current relationships, whether they be work, family, friends, or personal relationships, please don't hesitate to call me. 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial, or you can email me at zo@sirius-radio.com. That's zo@sirius-radio.com. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? You know you want to call in. You know you want to get involved. Also, if you haven't gotten my book yet, The Rebirth of Seeds, you can definitely reach out to me on MySpace, myspace.com/The Rebirth of Seeds, or myspace.com/Voice of Reason 106, and get your copy today. Pick up Jamie Foxx's album as well. Intuition came out January 16th. The shit is on fire. You need to get it. They have a new video coming out called Blame It on the Alcohol. It's damn near platinum. Go on and get Jamie Foxx's new album. It's incredible, you know? And I want to thank the bloggers, Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, all you folks out there who really enjoy what we do. Again, when you call in tonight, I want you to give me the top 3 things that can make you a soulmate, someone's soulmate, or somebody's cellmate. On Facebook, I have a friend. She broke down some of her soulmate qualities and some of her cellmate qualities. Her soulmate qualities is, she says she offers unconditional love. Her name is Donisha Young. She says one of her soulmate qualities is she offers unconditional love. She's compassionate. She's supportive. She's a team player. And then I said, well, Donisha, I emailed her back. I said, you forgot your cellmate qualities. So she hit me back and said her cellmate qualities are, she's a little clingy, right? She's a brat. She's spoiled. She wants what she wants when she wants it. And she said one other thing that I thought was really, really funny. She says she's obsessive. That can make you a cellmate. Does your partner, your significant other that you thought was a soulmate, have they turned into a cellmate when you found out that they had OCD? That could get ugly. You know, it really could. It could get ugly. Are you with someone who puts you down? A cellmate could be someone that tears you down emotionally, someone that attacks your integrity as a person, right? Have you become a cellmate because you've compromised yourself in order to just be in a relationship, right? 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. I got a house full of people and they're looking me down my throat. I appreciate it, though. I'm not afraid. Again, are you seeing someone whose expectations for the relationship and themselves are way out of whack, unrealistic? Are you dating the perpetual child, the dreamer, the guy that doesn't have the drive, or the woman that doesn't have the drive, and they become a drain on you? Now, in the beginning, you didn't know they was a drain because the representative was there and he looked fresh. He was flied in a mug. He was enticing. He was cute. The energy was right. And then he found a comfortable spot on your couch. Bowl of cereal. Just, you know, I'm working it out in my mind. Are you dating that guy or girl? 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. Once again, you're listening to the voice of reason. Are you dating somebody who is exceptionally demanding? Right? They want you to change for their betterment. I always say, always compromise, but don't compromise yourself while you're compromising. Be very careful to not compromise yourself when you're compromising, because when you compromise yourself, now all you're doing is living a charade. You're placating. I'm going to do this just to shut you up. Are you dating that person? The shut you up dater? 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. My homeboy Jason from Facebook just reached out and said his soulmate tendencies are he's outgoing, he's relaxed, he's funny, and, well, he says his soulmate tendencies, he's compromising. But that goes back to the point. Compromise always, but don't compromise yourself in the process of doing it, right? He also says his cellmate tendencies is that he's obsessive, he's spoiled, and he left an ellipsis for the third one. You know what I find? A lot of people have a difficult time enumerating their negative qualities. If you sit down and say, hey, give me 5, 6, 7 good qualities, these motherfuckers is making up all, I chew gum quietly. You know, I have great posture. I'm talking about character flaws, not, you understand? So they have all of these different illusions about how dope they are. But the question is, do you or are you in contact with the negative aspects of your character, and do you understand the effect that they produce in a relationship environment? Jason from ATL, or Johan from ATL, could you reach out to me? That's a fly ass name, Johan. Come.
Yo, appreciate it.
Chime in.
It's actually Javon.
Is Johan there? Is he going?
Tonight.
Or is this Jovan?
That's what it is.
This ain't the Jovan from New Orleans. Jovan, talk to me.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, I really enjoy the topic. I enjoy the show. I like it when...
I would like for my callers, ladies, I want to know what you guys think. I think it's very important that you reach out and let us know. Again, I'll ask even... Oh, I think he's coming in right now. Jovan, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's going on, man?
It's good to finally have you. What's the word?
Yeah, man. I was listening to the topic, and I think that at the beginning, I considered myself definitely the soulmate to the woman that I'm, and I saw myself become a cellmate in retaliation to the high standards that she placed on me that weren't there in the beginning. And I think that as the relationship matured, the set of standards kind of matured with it, and she started to not just look for a soulmate, but look for a husband, and those criteria changed what she expected from me. And I've been trying to live up to it for as long as I possibly could, but it's getting kind of strenuous, man.
Okay, would you say living up to her expectations of you, first off, would you say her expectations of you are unrealistic?
Well, in the beginning, they weren't. I don't think that they're unrealistic.
Well, how did they, over time, become unrealistic?
Yeah, well, I think that they changed. I mean, it's like the hurdles have become higher and higher as the relationship matures. And
So you're saying as time went on, she began to modify her expectations of you.
Exactly. And now they're kind of unreal. She's kind of scared about the economic status of the country, and she's wanting me to change what I do vocationally and things of that nature so that she can become more comfortable. And I'm doing what I can, but I always had a dream, and she believed in it at first.
Well, let me play devil's advocate. What if she's trying to motivate you to do more? What if she sees that your capacity is not at full capacity, and she's trying to motivate you in a way to expand and grow and take on more responsibility? What if she's doing that?
I think that's great in general, and I understand that as an idea for your mate, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. But it's like I'm trying to do, and me trying to do more, I have to stay true to myself, and I haven't changed. I haven't deviated from what I wanted to do, and I've been successful at it. She just thinks that I should try another field, maybe try to diversify some things, take on some responsibilities that aren't so lofty as far as my entrepreneurship is concerned. She's like, okay, that's cool. I want you to get a different job. I want you to do something that I can feel more comfortable with the stability factor in what you do. Because right now,
okay, so what she's saying is, dude, what you doing right now is no guarantee. You're not bringing. I can't put a guarantee on what you're doing, and she's concerned about the economic climate. She has a legitimate. That's a legitimate, concern. Now, if she's saying you ain't worth shit because you don't make enough money, that's something else. But if she's saying you should consider, diversifying what it is that you do, I think she has a good point. Jovan from ATL, you just brought them into the building. I appreciate your call. We must move quickly. Again, has your soulmate become your cellmate? Are you dating the master gamer? Are you dating a control freak? On the other side, tell me what makes you a cellmate or a soulmate. Richard, Memphis, chime.
Yo, what up, Zoe?
What's up, man?
Man, nothing chilling, man. Hey, look, I'm going to be in and out. I think what you did last week, man, was phenomenal, man. What you did for that couple, I forget their names.
I appreciate you, man. Shit.
Man, that was phenomenal, dog, man. You read it, man. And right now, man, me and my girl, we soulmates. But if we ever get to the point to where we become cellmates, I know exactly who to call. You did?
Please call me, man. I appreciate you, dude. You know what? And let me address this. Thank you, Richard from Memphis. Tennessee is my home state. I really appreciate you coming through. Last week just shocked me and threw me for a loop because what it actually allowed me to do by happenstance was do what I do, and that's mediate conflicts. Again, that's why we created this particular segment in the show. And regardless of what the topic is, if you're at home and you have a fucking problem with your relationship, don't be scared to call the real dude. I will talk with you. I don't give a hell what the problem is. If your son is under the bed hiding and you can't get him out from under the bed, put him on the phone. I'll talk to him. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. I really appreciated Sharon and T. I kept getting her name wrong. What I'm talking about now is I'm trying to get my producer to find them so we can get them back on the show, because a lot of people have asked about them and they want a progress report, and I think that's important to give back to the listeners. And for all of the haters out there who thought it was fake, go to hell, but don't skip go. Don't skip go and collect $200. Go straight to hell and I'll holler. Now, back to what we were doing. We're talking about the soulmate versus the cellmate, and let me give you guys more context on that. A soulmate is, the qualities of a soulmate is a person that's open in relationship, is a person that's authentic in relationships. A lot of times in our relationships, I find in observing them, I find people operate kind of like corporations. A corporation is a fictitious person. So we call it the representative, but most people have, their own personal templates and their ideologies. They say, this is what I need in order for me to have a happy relationship. I call that their corporate bylaws, right? These are my corporate bylaws, and you have to fit within this infrastructure in order to make me happy. Well, it's not just a me movement. You take that M, turn it upside down, it becomes a we movement. And most people don't want to give up the me movement because they've always been who they were. So when they get in a relationship, it's very difficult for them to say, you know what, let me let go of who I thought I was and really fully embrace the person that I am right now with you. If you want to chime in on this conversation, we don't have very much time. I think it's important. Ladies, I need your voices. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. I'm locked up with Akon. This is the Voice of Reason, Foxxhole Radio, Sirius Channels, 106, XM 149. Holla, I'll be back in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Voice of Reason, Sirius Satellite, XM Satellite Radio. My Sirius listeners, my family from the very beginning, you're on Channel 106. My new family, XM, you're on Channel 149. You're listening to the Voice of Reason. I am ZoWilliams, the Voice of Reason, Foxxhole Radio. That's right, Jamie Foxx has his own network. This is what we do. And for all the people out there who've been trying to get my book, myspace.com/Voice of Reason 106. I know a lot of people have been having problems with the PayPal account. I promise I cuss them out every morning. So please continue to go ahead and do that, okay? Again, we're talking about, because there's a lot of people out there, and I know there's a lot of people out there right now in prison with their mate. The person that they thought was their soulmate has revealed themselves as their cellmate. And what do I mean by that? If you're in a relationship with somebody a rightaholic, somebody that's got to be right all the time, has to win every conversation. They're not trying to communicate with you. They're talking at you. They're talking down to you. They're talking for you. They're making decisions for you. They understand you better than you do. No, you're wrong about yourself. You're in jail. You don't know it, but now you do. That person has manifested themselves as your cellmate, not your soulmate. If you're dating the person that spends too much time to themselves and doesn't focus on you, right? You're a convenience. Well, I have time now. You have from now till 12. That's 12 minutes. And then I have to bounce. Well, hey, what about intimate time? We don't have time for intimate time. We only have time for connection. Let's connect and then if you're dating that person, where your relationship is some side business and the primary focus, the type of person that wants to be in a relationship because they feel strange for not being in a relationship, so they make a little bit of time for that just so they can feel like they're normal. No, that's not how you deal with a relationship. A relationship reveals who you are, even though you have a representative. Raven from Raleigh, North Carolina. It's time for the Raven to chime. Chime in, Raven.
Hi, Zoe. How are you?
I am alive and well. And you?
I am blessed. I'm blessed. Listen, I am married to my soulmate.
Really?
Sometimes because I am, and sometimes he becomes my cellmate. This is the deal. I have learned to be a lady in the streets and a freak in the bed. You've got to learn to do that. You really do. It's important to be a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Be your representative in the bed and give that, person, whoever, partner, whatever, the side, all your stress, all your extra stuff. But, learn to be an arm piece when he's in charge or, when he's at a business function and let him do the same thing for you. But I am a cellmate sometimes, I'll tell you, because I have learned, as I'm an African-American woman, and I learned as an African-American woman, be independent, and this is what we're taught, be independent, handle yourself, but find a man. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We're taught both, so it's like when we find it, what the hell do we do? Do we depend on them, or do we stay independent? All the women independent, like Beyonce and Destiny's Child. What do we do? So
are you saying you're socialized to alienate your man's masculinity in a way?
Somewhat, absolutely. We're taught.
Because if you're in a relationship, how can you still have the independent thought process?
That's what I'm saying, and then I'm a Christian, so I'm like, trying to do the submissive thing sometimes.
So you want to humble out, but you just can't.
Right. And then I'm bossy. I am the Khalees song to the T. Like, wow. For real. Plus, my husband, I'll just be all the way real. His point was being, he's an unconditional lover, wonderful man, excellent provider. I'm the mother of twins. I just had twins. Shout out to my babies, Jeremiah and Josiah.
Shout them out. I'm sure they can understand the shout out.
Old. Absolutely. They better be asleep when I get home. But he is a rightaholic. It's crazy you just said that. My husband knows everything I ever did before. He knows everything that you know, everything that Barack Obama knows. He knows.
Okay, so let me ask you really quickly.
Knows.
So let me ask you really quickly, Raven. How are you a cellmate to him?
Because it's tough.
Just give me 3 things that make you a cellmate to him.
Because I'm very stubborn.
Bossy.
Extremely stubborn / headstrong. They go together.
Mm-hmm.
I buck his manhood sometimes, even though he is an excellent provider. It's that independent.
Are you emasculating your man? Are you emasculating your man?
I do that sometimes. I'll be all the way honest.
It's not sexy.
I'll keep it real.
It's not sexy.
And there are some times where the freak goes away.
Wow.
Like I said, I just had twins, so, the sex drive is there, but, I just had twins, and I didn't have a C-section, so how they came.
Right, let it close up then. Let it just,
You know what I'm saying?
it's got to
So
shrivel
I'm
back
like,
down.
Right, give me a minute, give me a second.
Right, you can go to a store, a little root store, and get some alum root. And throw that in your bath water, and it'll snap it right back. Raven, I just want alum root, ALUM. Go get it. It'll snap it up. I want to thank you for the call, Raven. I appreciate you. Raleigh is in the building because of you. Voice of Reason 106. This is what we do, 149. The channel here is the Foxxhole, and I need you to call in. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. You're listening to ZoWilliams. We're talking about if your soulmate has become your cellmate. And let me just give you a couple of pointers on what it means to be a soulmate. There must be mutual consideration in the relationship. There must be mutual adoration in the relationship. There must be loyalty from both partners. And I don't mean I'm loyal because the Bible done told me. No, because if you got to be forced to be loyal because of some set of standards that somebody told you was the right thing to do, then you're not doing it organically. You're not doing it naturally. You're doing it under duress. I don't want you to do it under duress. If you love somebody, you love them from the open, honest core of your being. That's what we want from loyalty. We don't want coerced loyalty because, some angel got your arm twisted behind your back. We don't want that. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. If you disagree, if you think I'm talking some bullshit, challenge me. I would love to hear it. There must be mutual graciousness, right? Sometimes people get married and say, you're going to fuck me because you're supposed to. You my wife, get naked, I'm home, shit, I've been lifting cinder blocks all day. I'm ready to put this thing down. Sometimes women ain't feeling it that way. The demanding dude is really unattractive to women. What do you think, women? Ladies, call me. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. Keith from Richmond, what do you think?
Good evening, sir. How you doing tonight?
I appreciate you, sir. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Hey, I just want to say, man, you handled that conversation last week with that couple from North Carolina. You did an excellent job with that.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
My comment to you is that I found out for me, after 10 years of marriage next month, I found out that I'm the one, who's the cellmate, not the soulmate. In the beginning it was the soulmate, but now I found out that I'm the cellmate.
Wow, how? Tell me how. What makes you a cellmate?
I'm very critical. I'm very critical. I'm very open as far as if I see something out of order, I'm a comment on it. I'm trying to teach my mate how to see the forest from the trees.
Is she but let me just ask you this question. Is she your student or is she your mate? Which one?
She's my student, to be honest with you. She's my student.
So that means, do you respect her? Because, in relationship, we are each other's student and teacher simultaneously on a moment-to-moment basis. Sometimes she might be the teacher and you're the student. Do you relent when you're the student and she's the teacher?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've been the teacher for so long. It's almost frustrating, and it seems like, there's some sort of disconnect and she doesn't get it. And so, I'm like at my wit's end.
Are you? Let me ask you a question. Are you a writeaholic?
Yeah, I am.
There you go. So really, you might be her cellmate and not her soulmate. Listen, when you're communicating, Keith, the whole thing is you should communicate to understand each other. You shouldn't communicate to prove yourself right or prove her wrong. That's not the purpose of communication. The true essence of communication is connecting. Not, see, I told you went the wrong way. You should listen to my instruction. A real teacher teaches by example, not just by words, not just by verbiage. So, you understand, if she's not following what you say, maybe you're not being what you say. And that may create the conflict in the relationship, potentially. What do you think about that?
I agree with you on that. I agree with you.
So, hey, man, Keith, I really appreciate you reaching out, and thank you for the compliment for last week. Like I told the people earlier, I'm really going to try to reach out to that couple via my producer and bring them back, because I want to know what their progress is, too, because that was a shocking show. Again, Tony from Indiana, what do you have to say? Chime.
Oh, all praises to what you do, man. I'm a first-time listener, and I'm just shocked that somebody's even willing to talk about this subject.
That's what we do here. We try to shock motherfuckers. But go ahead.
I'm shocked. I served an 8-year sentence in a relationship, and I feel that we both were cellmates. Because relationships, a lot is give and take, 50-50, and like you said, you have to be able to teach and learn.
Right.
You can't always teach and not be willing to learn. Mm-hmm. And then you also have to keep in mind that people are in your life for a reason, and sometimes people are seasonal. Mm-hmm. They may be good to you, and they may be good at the time, but they may not be that person for you.
Indeed. Indeed.
That's something you have to keep in mind. But then there's a lot of different situations that come about when you're dealing with relationships that have children. That's an extended family, ready-made family.
Right.
Then you got some relationships where there's an age difference. Mm-hmm. My wife was 9 years older than me.
Wow.
So she snatched me when I was a whippersnapper. You know what I'm saying?
Just whipped you up, didn't she?
Man, I was in my early 20s out there doing my thug thing, and she just, hey, I got to get that.
But I bet you learned an extreme amount of valuable information during that process, didn't you?
I learned a lot.
I bet you did.
And the famous words of my man Smokey Robinson, you have to go through the agony to get to the ecstasy.
Man, Tony from Indiana, you have brought Indiana into the building. If you want to bring your city into the building, 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial. I'm ZoWilliams, voice of reason. Thank you, Tony. Again, dude said something that was very, very, very meaningful here. And I want you guys to understand when we're talking about the cellmate or the soulmate concept. A soulmate, I mean, we have to deal with what that is. It deals with spirituality. One of my favorite philosophers is Joseph Campbell. And, he's written a lot of books. He was a historian, and he talked about, the power of myth and all of that stuff. And it was he who inspired George Lucas to write his Star Wars epic, right? This dude was incredible. And what he said about relationship and love and marriage was quite poignant to me, very poignant. He said, true marriage has nothing to do with religion. True marriage is about recognizing the divinity in someone else. And I thought that was incredible. And again, that's what I mean by soulmate, not social template, because a lot of times in a capitalist society, I always make this example. We're trying to gain stuff. We're trying to acquire things, and unfortunately, we once we get the material things, we also try to acquire the relationship thing. Oh, it's time for me to be married. It's time for me to have a house and a kid. Again, if you want to chime in, 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial. You're listening to The Voice of Reason. That's Jamie Foxx in the background. Intuition album, Overdose. You better get it. And I'll be back in a second to talk more about soulmates, cellmates. Holla. Ladies and gentlemen, back in the building. Thursday nights, Voice of Reason, ZoWilliams, Foxxhole Radio, Sirius XM Satellite Radio, Channel 106 and 149, respectively. It's what we do every Thursday. Tonight's topic, of course, has your soulmate become a cellmate? Man, and we're in here talking about it right now, and I think it's important because this is what's very important to me. Communication is always the key to having a really, really meaningful and purposeful relationship. And the communication can't be good until you delve into yourself and find out what your strengths and weaknesses are. It's called knowledge of self. But once you get knowledge of self, your communication skills should be centered around communicating without blame. Right? It's not about being right. We talked about the rightaholic and, I'll show you that kind of person. Communicate without blame. You should communicate for understanding. And you should be open about sharing your problems and your flaws within your character. A lot of times, again, a relationship is like litmus paper. All of the shit just comes through. It comes through. It shows up. It's a highly reflective environment. And it's going to come out whether you're manicured and prepared and your behavior is neat around your woman or whatever. It's going to come out in some kind of way. So don't hide from what the relationship reveals about yourself. I think that's very big, especially when you're trying to communicate. You should avoid verbally abusing people. And most people should master the art of listening. Listening in communication is as important as talking. Too many times we find that people are just waiting in line on a conveyor belt so they can have their turn to talk. I'm not really hearing what you're saying. I really want to get this shit off. You feel me? That's a poor way to communicate and connect. So empathy is a big part of communication. 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. You're listening to the Voice of Reason. I'm ZoWilliams. Tammy from San Antonio. Talk to me, Tammy. I'd love to hear your voice. Chime.
I just broke free from my cellmate and busted out of jail because there was no communication, there was no understanding, and there was definitely verbal abuse.
Wow.
So I walked out of that situation, and I'm a happier person for it. It just didn't work for me.
Well, what did you do to turn this into a jail sentence? I know you could tell me exactly in an itemized alphabetical order what he did, but I want to know what you did that contributed to this situation becoming a jail term, a jail sentence. We've got a new euphemism out there. When you're in a bad relationship, you're a cellmate. That's a new euphemism. Spread it. Talk to me, Tammy.
Well, I would say that I let him get away with a lot, and I changed the way that I was because I wanted to make him happy, and I tried doing the wife thing and being submissive, but that's just not a part of who I am. And he wanted to isolate me from my family and isolate me from friends. And
okay, you know what, Tammy, you're really slick, and I don't like the slickness because I just said, what did you do? And you just went right back to him. That was real cold. I love your style here. I need more.
I let him get away with whatever he wanted to. I let him have his way with me.
That's not how you. No. You're playing games. You on national radio. Everybody in the world listening to you play games now. I don't want no games, Tammy. What did you do?
That's what I did.
See, you can't even, that's what I mean. Most people can't even say, or not even connected to what it is that they contribute, because it takes two to tango, always does, always has. So a person just can't do something to you without your participation. Now, understand you allowed certain things to happen, but also you have a particular thought process that needs to be addressed that drew that person to you. Tammy, explain that to me.
I don't know how to. Well, my part of it, I emasculated him in a way.
Wow. See, now we're getting down to the nuts and bolts of the situation. Emasculation always leads to men lashing out. I'm telling you right now, emasculation is another word saying I'm gonna cut your nuts off. Now you see, that's what Jesse Jackson said about Obama. I'm gonna cut his nuts off. That's emasculation. Is that what you're trying to do? Trying to cut his nuts off? What's going on?
No, he can keep his nuts.
He can keep his nuts now that it's over.
That's
Girl,
right.
Tammy from San Antonio, you brought San Antonio into the building. Do you want to bring your city into the building? 877-210-6106 is the number to dial. We're talking about if your soulmate has become your cellmate and how to know, right? A lot of people don't know they in jail. All you got to do is decorate your cell, put a couch in there and a widescreen TV. You think it's a fucking apartment. So again, 877-210-6106 is the number to dial to participate. Please let us know if you want to do that. Tamara from ATL, holla at me.
Hey, so how's it going tonight?
I am alive and well. Do you enjoy the show?
Yes, I do. I called in a couple of weeks ago.
I really appreciate you. Are you a cellmate or a soulmate?
I am neither at this time, but I just wanted to comment on what the lady said earlier, the lady that called from North Carolina. And what I wanted to know is, for some of us black Southern women who were raised to be strong women, how do we tone that down when we're dealing with men sometimes? It's a little hard.
Are you asking me about the angry black woman syndrome?
I wouldn't say angry. It's just that sometimes you're just stern in the way that you do a lot of different things.
Right.
I'm a hard worker, so I want you to be as hard working as I am. Mm-hmm. I don't want a bum.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with not wanting a bum. I don't think you should want a bum. I really don't. But here's the thing. If we go back and we understand the strength of the black woman and what she had to go through throughout slavery and then coming out of slavery and still having to deal with the social templates that are in place. The social templates are ageism, racism, sexism, and classism. So, again, if you talk about the socioeconomic strata of black people, usually, you know, for a long time, we've been the poorest, the worst educated, and all of that. So the black woman had to rise up in corporate America and all these other places and put these things on her back, while at the same time cooking biscuits and raising the kids and teaching them the alphabet and all of that. So when they deal with a man, of course, they want a man that is as strong as they are.
Right, on the same level. On the same level.
So there's nothing wrong with that. And what the man was what the black man was socialized as being public enemy number one, his thing was, I got to find a way or a hustle or a scheme or a way to get in or a way to figure out what I can do to, you know, to win this whole thing. So it's a strange dynamic when your black man is public enemy number one up until 2008 and the election of the black man as the American president. But again, it's very difficult to walk that fine line, and it comes back to communication. If you don't want a bum, women should put aside their emotional needs sometimes so that they can see clearer. Because a lot of times the emotions will step in and say, you know what, I just need somebody. I need a cuddle time. I need to hug. I need to be in the presence of a man. A lot of our sisters out there wasn't raised by their dad. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different dynamics that are happening at the same time. So they wind up settling for the dude that feels good as opposed to the dude that is good for them. A lot of times the dude that's good for you, sisters, doesn't always feel good because challenge is the conduit to growth. Sometimes your thought process, your the way you view things, the way you've been socialized and conditioned, it's very important that be challenged so you can see the chinks in the thought process. Most people don't like being challenged. How I view shit is how I view shit. So with men and women, communication skills are paramount in order for the relationship to work. Tamara from ATL, you're the shit. You brought your city into the building. If you want to get your city into the building, 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial. Voice of Reason 106 XM 149. It's what we do. It's how we get down. And again, let me give you guys some more pointers about having more pointers on how to have meaningful relationships. Or soulmates, developing into soulmates. Let go of the anger. A lot of motherfuckers is angry. And it's real easy to be angry when 2 weeks ago or a week ago, 70,000 motherfuckers got laid off. It's real easy to be upset. Christmas was a slow Christmas. Wasn't no money. You know, car companies are shutting down, people getting fired, laid off. There's a general sense of anxiety in America. Because everybody's like, remember that years ago when we were doing bad, they would say, motherfuckers is one check from being out on the street. Well, I'm sure we're coming close to that again. So there's a lot of anxiety. And if you couple that with self-unawareness, if you couple that with, you know, a lack of personal knowledge, who I am, what I'm about, and an overall drive to succeed, and poor communication skills, it's real easy to get into some bullshit with the one you thought you loved, with the one you thought was a fucking soulmate. Ladies and gentlemen, Voice of Reason, you know how we do here. We have a fucking ball. If you're having a problem in your relationships and you want to mend it or end it, you can call me. You can email me. You call me at 877-2-106-106, or you can email me at ZO at Sirius-Radio, and we'll try to handle it for you. We're about to take a quick break. I'll see you in a minute. Holla. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to The Voice of Reason. I'm ZoWilliams. And we are really enjoying this conversation. It's good vibes. Again, has your soulmate become your cellmate? It's important that you know this. It's important that you know if you have a serial number tagged on your soul. It's important to know if you're spiritually wearing stripes. And you could be the person that's imprisoning yourself with a limiting thought process. It's important that you understand that. Now, in order to become or develop a meaningful relationship, you've got to have trust, mutual trust for each other. You have to learn that listening and understanding and accepting and learning should be the prerequisite for how you communicate with each other. And let me just not leave this out. Don't be stingy with the booty. I mean, a lot of times, sex is a power play. And that makes you a cellmate. When you got like these silent contracts and ultimatums that nobody knows about. And I always say, don't use tolerance as a means for giving a person a chance. You know what I mean by that? I mean, the key is acceptance. And if you accept people for who they are, your expectations are no longer unrealistic. A lot of times we have unrealistic expectations because we've never really accepted the person we're dating. We're only tolerating them. And what I say about toleration in my upcoming book, Life as a Mirror, what I say about tolerance is that tolerance is the silent time bomb. Because you can only tolerate somebody for so long. Tolerance always implies time. But acceptance is an eternal movement. I know who and what you are, and I accept you for that. That's very important for the development of a soulmate kind of relationship. There must be kindness. And shit, let's have fun. Let's laugh. Let's enjoy each other. Can we do that? Shit. Robert, Memphis, chime, man.
Hello?
Yes, Robert, chime.
Oh, hey. You touched on a lot of things that I can definitely identify with. And I heard your show last week, and I thought that was interesting. So I guess I'm going to start listening. But I had gotten into a relationship about 3 years ago that is really pulling me down. Currently, I'm a truck driver, but I wasn't before I got started with this relationship. And I don't even look forward to going home anymore. The person that I got to know is not the person that I got to know 4 or 5 years ago. She turned out to be a lot meaner, a lot more disruptive to a person's spirit, ignorant acting. As a matter of fact, if you had both of us on the line, she'd probably end up saying, "Who the fuck are you?" And why should I listen to this motherfucker? But right. I'm at a situation now that I want it to end, but it's kind of difficult. I got into a situation where I relocated, and we got a house together, and all the bills are in my name. She had children, and I don't. Mm-hmm. Well, I got a son, but he's 24 years old.
Okay, anyway. So Robert, let me go deep really quickly. Let me just touch this right here. Is being in a relationship with this woman making you a better person?
Oh no, definitely not.
So
definitely
why are you,
not.
But
even my mother noticed my self-esteem is taking a hit.
So why? Because let me just go for 1 second.
It's got something to do with economics. I can tell you that.
Okay. Well, your self-esteem should be yours. That's why it's called your self-esteem. So if you are identifying your self-worth with your relationship, that means your self-worth is connected to something that is outside of yourself. And it should never be that way. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you should always know that you're priceless regardless of who's in your circle, in your cipher, in your energy. You should know that. That's the bottom line. But if you're identifying your self-worth with your relationship, then what you're saying is if the relationship fails, so do you.
No, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm following you, though.
But that's my point. I don't want you to identify and associate yourself with your relationship. Your relationship is a reflection of who you are, but not who you are. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I just look forward to getting out of it. The economics don't, I mean, with the bills being the way that they are, I would practically have to cut everything off and just leave.
Gotcha.
And, you know, and with the children being involved, I mean, they're fine. But
so, Robert, let me ask you this: Is your job connected to your confidence?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Right,
yeah,
but your job, just like your relationship.
I used to make a lot more money, and now I don't.
But that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Your job is a reflection of who you are. It doesn't mean it's a reflection of the total you. It's the reflection of who you are right now. And whatever the thinker thinks, the prover will prove. If you think you want more, if you think you deserve more, all you have to do is upgrade your belief system about your job, about your working situation. You trying to tell me you can't expand the capacity of what it is that you do?
Yeah. And
of course you can. Of course you can.
Of course.
So Robert from Memphis, second call from Memphis. I really appreciate you reaching out, man, and you're more than welcome to come back to the Voice of Reason anytime. It's what we do. I need to move on to this last caller. Les from Minneapolis. It's time for you to chime. What's up, bro?
Man, I'm so glad you got this on here. Let me first give you a little piece. I pastor a church, so don't hold that against me. I love the Jamie Foxx radio station. Yes, I'm still a pastor, but I love Jamie Foxx. But
it's all
good. I do want to say this because I deal with a lot of couples that deal with communication, a lot of singles that are trying to get hooked up, and I think we've lost the art of how to talk to one another. We almost now seem as like we got to work an angle, and if it don't work, well, maybe we'll try another one.
Exactly.
I've been married going on 23 years, and my wife is my best friend. She's the best lover to me. She's my soulmate and all of that. And a lot of people want to get there, but they're unwilling to do the sacrifices that we've done. Sometimes the problem with a lot of these people is they need to learn how to shut up. Everything is not going to go your way, and you are not always right. Exactly. And a lot of guys think that it's a challenge to their manhood to admit that she's right and I may be wrong. And as some women do, they feel like I ain't gonna let no man tell me what to do and who he think he is. My daddy's this. But if you're gonna be in a relationship, I tell the people I deal with all the time. First of all, I'm not gonna date anybody that I don't consider marriage material. Right. There's too many diseases out there just have irresponsible booty calls and things that we used to have back when I was out in the streets. I ain't that old, but I can remember that era.
So, Les, let me do it this way, bruh. I'm going to call you Big Les. Do you want me to come to the church?
You messing my name up, man. I'm Les.
Les.
L-E-S.
L-E-S. Les. Yes, I don't want to call you Les because I believe you're more. But let me just say.
Got you.
Let me just say, though. Do you want me to come to the church? We could set up a remote radio show right from the church, brother.
Man, all you got.
What do you want to do? ZO at Sirius-radio.com. I'm telling y'all, come to the church and we can have a relationship revival up in this piece.
Hey, bruh, do it all the time. I'm trying to tell you, because I'm tired of women complaining.
So
tired
New York,
of brothers complaining.
So New York, please get his information. Les from Minneapolis, I appreciate you reaching out. Les, get his information and connect with us because we will do this. Ladies and gentlemen, you listen to the Voice of Reason, and this is what we do every week. And we come to that point of the show where I do my final thought and where I crystallize the purpose of the show. So with that said, here we go. Tonight, I ask my listening audience to look deep within for the purpose of answering a very meaningful question. Are you someone's soulmate or cellmate? This question is not easily answered by those who seek to look away from the core reflection of their true selves. Is not the lifelong pursuit and attainment of knowledge of self one of life's most incredible and meaningful qualities? Does it not add meaning to our life? Does it not make life worth living? The pursuit of this knowledge? Conversely, is not the lack of self-knowledge that which empowers our inner cellmate? When we behave like a cellmate, we not only impose a habitually self-limiting existence on ourselves, we do the same for those that choose to interact with us. A thought process that is defined by character flaws like inflexibility of perspective, insecurity, fear, and anger causes many of us to succumb to a life destined to be trapped behind the walls of mediocrity. With that said, here are my top tips on how to become someone's soulmate. Tip number 1, to thine own self be true. Shit. Always be the real you. Don't compromise and be some cornball just to get a relationship. A lot of people use the relationship as a Linus blanket. Don't do that. To thine own self be true. Tip number 2, know thyself. Don't allow yourself to be defined by things you have or things you desire to have. This also includes the pursuit of a relationship. Tip number 3, allow respect to become the religion of all your relationships. That's heavy. I'm going to say that again. Tip number 3, allow respect to become the religion of all your relationships. Consideration and gratitude builds positive momentum. Tip number 4, become a master communicator. This includes listening. Tip number 5, my final one, be more than just a mate. Be a friend, be a counselor, be an accountant, a soundboard, a spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical advocate of your partner. I'm ZoWilliams, the voice of reason, and that's my final thought. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're in LA on the 21st, it's very important that you come see me at my first relationship town hall meeting. It's at Club Echoes. Now, that's where it's at, Club Echoes. What is it? I don't know the address. It's 1600 block on Cahuenga. Come see me. I'm telling you, we're going to pepper jack off. We're going to clear up all your relationship issues. We're going to enjoy ourselves. If you want to buy that book too, www.myspace.com, Voice of Reason 106. Trust me, it's worth the wait. Come out and check me out. Pick up Jamie Foxx's album, Intuition. It's in stores right now. Check for his new single, Blame It on the Alcohol. And again, Voice of Reason every Thursday. You got to participate in what we do. We enjoy your company. And that's it from me. I'll see you guys next week. Holla. Peace.